Okay, so our game, we're going to have to do that. I think that's a good way of stopping them scoring, but Melbourne are a hell of a lot quicker than what Geelong are, so maybe not.
This good point.
I thought it was going to be raining on Saturday night, and it's not, apparently. It is a high
That's
chance
good
of
for us.
showers, most likely in the morning, right? So, my initial theory last night when we named our team was we
I
are
was happy with.
way too tall.
Oh, really?
Way too
How do-
tall.
Go
Because you've
on.
got, so Wiedemann's out for them,
Yep.
and Viney's back in.
Yep.
So, that is not a like for like.
I'm going to just have a look at the team as you're discussing. Go.
That is not a like for like.
Wiedemann's out. Yes. For Viney. Yes.
That is,
Gotcha. Yep. I
yeah,
see what you
not
mean.
not a like for like. Whereas we've got Waterman in for Cahill, so we've got big for small. They've got small for big.
Hang
And
on.
by big, I mean Waterman's broad,
Well,
not tall.
2 centimeters taller. Yeah.
Not tall, but he's a lot bigger and probably a lot slower than Cahill or
I
Cahill.
don't. Yeah. I don't know about slow, but go on.
Different players.
Are
Big
they?
big body for small guy. Cahill's
They're
little.
both. They're
Waterman's a
both a
big body.
half forward.
Yeah, but he's a
They're
big
both.
body. He's a big. I'm just talking size. I'm not talking role. Anything else. I'm just talking size. Anyway,
It's a good thing. But anyway, go on.
when you look at matchups, right? So Hooker, May, most likely. And then from there, their back line isn't huge. Lever's bigger, obviously, but I don't know if they want him getting locked down in a one-on-one role against
Right.
Jones or someone like that. So we've got tools of Hooker, Jones, and Stringer as a medium sort of forward. All that says to me is if the ball hits the ground, so if it was wet and the ball hits the ground, we're going to get killed. As soon as the ball hits the ground in our forward line, it's going to come straight back out
You don't
very
think
quickly.
guys like McDonald, Tip and Woody, Perkins, Smith?
McDonald and Woody, sure, just because he's got a bit of craft and a bit of he's a good small forward. But other than that, you haven't got a lot on the ground there to lock the ball in. And Melbourne have got the
Yep.
class in that back line to get it out fairly easily. Again, if it's wet, when it's dry, it gives us a good chance of our marking forwards to take marks because they haven't got the height.
Mm-hmm.
Down the other end, they've got Tom McDonald, who you assume
Who's in good form?
Lav, maybe, or Stewart. Those
Tom
two.
McDonald, well, Tom McDonald's probably the tallest, I would say. So probably Stewart, yeah.
Stewart, yeah. And then you've got not much else in the way of height down there.
Oh,
I
well,
don't know how tall Tom Sparrow
yeah.
is. I don't know him. Spargo's not tall. Neil Bullen's not
Spargo.
tall. Keziah Pickett's
Bailey
not tall.
Fritsch is an
He's
interesting
probably a
height.
medium, so either Ridley or Laverde.
Probably,
Probably
that's a
Lav.
good one. Probably
Muscle him.
Ridley could. Because see, Fritsch, I reckon, is the guy that could kick 4 goals against us. Personally, he's a good forward.
So,
Hmm.
what's the matchup for Pickett? Because Ridley can play small,
Oh, then for me it would be Hind, wouldn't it? He's the quickest.
but then what do we lose from that?
Yeah, you lose the run and carry, but that's what you hope that somebody else. Redmond could do it. Redmond won't be as quick, but he runs and carries the ball.
Then he can kick a goal.
He loves to kick a goal. Let's get up the other end and kick a goal.
So I
Or
just
do you
thought the
or do you
matchups
give
don't
someone
work.
like Braden Ham or is the other what's his name in the team?
Guelph.
Guelphy in the
Yeah,
team?
Guelphy's named on the wing.
Yeah. Do you give them that job?
That's a big ask for someone like
I've seen them give Ham or Guelphy, I can't remember who it was now, a job like that another time when they've given him a small forward. Like maybe it was what's his name, Eddie Betts.
Eddie Betts had a reasonable game against us, but Pickett's
Didn't say it worked.
they're
but I've seen him do
they're
it.
different though because like Betts will kick a goal from anywhere, and Pickett might as well, but Pickett's quick, and he's gonna dance. He's gonna do everything McDonald, Tip, and Woody does, but like five
better.
times quicker.
Like a younger, better version.
Maybe not better. Let's steady on, but quicker. Absolutely quicker. He's lightning. So you may be right in Hind because he's probably got the
Well, he's
pace
the one.
and acceleration.
Hind's the only one that's
but
going to have the pace to go with him. But that
our
no one,
defenders,
you don't have defenders that can go with him in that.
no,
That
but
yeah.
our defenders get sent.
What Hembo gets sent.
So Pickett might do a little fake step or a little fake kick. Our defenders will fall for it. They fall for it all the time. So maybe team defense, and one bloke goes for the smother, one bloke goes for the spear tackle.
Well, the other way to look at that is that if we do have a couple of tall, like if we've got James Stewart, Laverde, Ridley, they're all good marking defenders that the ball might not hit the ground as much, and therefore, what's his name, Pickett might not have as much influence on that.
I guess if it does hit the ground, like,
of course, it will hit the ground. There's no doubt it will hit the ground.
As a defensive unit, though, you don't want your forwards taking marks. So ideally, we would have the ball on the ground every single contest, which makes him. We're taking intercept marks. We're taking
intercept marks. We're going to still mark the ball.
At the very least, the ball needs to come to ground.
Unless we mark it.
Not be marked by them.
Of course, that's obvious.
Come on.
Well, I don't understand your point at the moment. You're saying that every time the ball hits the ground, Pickett's going to be like...
Yeah, but your thing was that their forwards might take marks. Isn't that what you just said?
No.
I thought that's
I'm saying that all these things are part, like there's going to be... We're going to take marks, they're going to take marks, and the ball's going to hit the ground. They're the three things that just will happen. How we deal with all those situations... I'm saying that because we have three tall defenders that maybe will mark more than they'll mark, so we'll get more of the possession. When the ball hits the ground, it's going to be up to, Hine, Redmond, and even probably Stewart to just be aware of where Pickett is. But I wouldn't be that worried about Pickett. Like, he's a good player, but he's not. He's still a kid.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I stopped listening, probably, to be truthful. Right. I misunderstood what you meant. The other thing is, too, we got Zerk Thatcher on the bench, that's very tall.
Yeah, I don't like Zerk Thatcher. I'll take that, retract that. I don't like Zerk Thatcher being picked in this team. I agree with that. I think it's
very tall. So
very tall. I agree.
Our emergencies are Phillips, Cutler, Zaharakis, and Durham.
I'm saying Sam Durham, personally.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got two guys there that have been subs, Cutler and Zaharakis. I would have thought maybe Zaharakis comes back in for Zerk Thatcher. But not that I think he adds anything, but just the size.
Well, see, I reckon Sam Durham, is the pick for me because of his size. He's a good, height defender. He's like another Mason Redmond, but I think a bit more of a harder unit, which I think is what I'd like to see.
Okay.
Instead of a Zerk Thatcher, which is just a tall, gangly bastard, and he's got no one to play on.
Also,
the only other thing
emergency.
I will say though is that I need to look at their team quickly because Luke Jackson. So Luke Jackson's their backup ruckman. Him and Gawn swap.
He's very good too, Jackson. Isn't he?
So Stewart might play on him. So now if you throw, because he's going to be actually playing a centre half forward, not so that's Stewart, and then who did we say before? McDonald will probably Laverde will get him. So Jackson, and then you've got to allow for the fact that Gawn will go down there and be a four.
Is that a bit of a mismatch?
Yeah, what? It's gone the other way now, has it? We need another tall.
No. I'm just our defenders very mid-sized rather than being tall.
Oh no! I think we're fine. Stewart's 199 centimeters. I'm looking at it. Jackson's probably 203 or something like that.
So Lav's 193. McDonald's 194. So no dramas. That's fine. I thought in my head McDonald was a bit taller. A lot taller than.
And Lav's played on big bodies, so he goes well.
I hope
Stewart will play on Jackson.
Turns on his aggressive, ball first, crazy man. I can't remember who that was against. The one before. Maybe it was the West Coast game. Yeah, West Coast game against Darling.
Darling played really well.
Aggressive.
Probably hasn't found that form again, but we know it's there.
We only had a couple of games. And we didn't really have matchups against Richmond either. They're very small.
Trent Rivers is another one, so he can go forward.
Well, he's mid. He's a mid-sized defender.
He'd be a 190 odd.
Like a medium-sized defender.
Yeah.
What's his first name?
Trent.
It is Trent. Isn't there a Trent Rivers before that played for Melbourne?
Maybe it's the same one.
That's not because this guy's like 12 years old. He's only 188, so yeah, he's a
No, okay. Thought he was taller.
small to mid
Yep.
defender. I'm sure there was a Trent Rivers.
Don't know.
There used to be Rivers that played for Melbourne.
Yeah, there was another Rivers.
Doesn't matter. Righto. So out of there, their ruck worries me. Gorn, Oliver, Petrarca. Oh boy. Against Draper, Parrish, and as named Ham.
Ham won't play in that role. That's why I'm questioning Ham, and that's why I'm thinking about Ham in that other role, because he won't play in that midfield. Surely.
Oh, and Merritt, because Merritt's named in the guts with Viney as well.
Yeah. So they've got Guelphy on a wing.
Surely we start Stringer. Surely that's not Ham, that's Stringer. First bounce, Stringer's in the middle, surely.
But this is how it would line up, that Stringer might start in that, but then he goes forward like what they keep doing. So I guess to name it, then Braden Ham becomes the midfielder.
But at that first bounce, you're three midfielders.
A Stringer?
A Stringer, Parrish, and Merritt.
Yeah.
Which means where Ham's named on the ruck.
Well, on the followers.
Yeah, as opposed to...
He'll probably start on a half-forward flank and then swap with Stringer straight away.
Stringer's named on the half-forward flank, yeah. So they would swap. I would think a bit of dominance, hopefully, a bit of physical assertion.
Well, especially when you got Petrarca and Oliver. See, and this goes back to my original point of view, saying that Waterman for Cahill's not a good pick. I think it is, because if you look at the Melbourne back six, now we know Michael Hibberd very well. Strong unit. Strong, muscly, bit of an ordinary kick, but muscly unit.
He's an alright kick. He's prone to a shank, but he's got an alright kick.
Yeah, prone to a shank. Christian Salem's a muscly unit.
And he's a very good player.
Very, very good player. All Australian form, I would say. And I don't know Harrison Petty, to be honest.
I've not heard of him.
But Jaden Hunt's there, pacey, he's their rebounding. And then Lever and May are there marking strong, tall forward. So,
and then on the bench, they've still got Arms to come into that midfield. Or
half back, whichever role they want him to play. Yeah. You might tag Merritt.
And we've got Zerk Thatcher and Peter Wright. That's what I'm saying. We're just a little bit... Feel like we're a little bit on the tall side. And if we're not taking marks, we are probably going to get killed when the ball hits the ground. That's my worry in our forward line, and that's my worry with Pickett as well.
That's fair enough. I think it's greater than Pickett, but I understand your point.
I'm not saying Kasai Pickett's the best player ever, but he's going to thrive if we've got all these tall bastards that can't bend down and pick up the football.
Tall people can pick up the footy, mate, but anyway.
Some, not all.
Ruckman can't bend over.
Ruckman can't. But...
I would argue that... what's his name? Stewart is quite capable of bending over and picking up the football.
But maybe not as clean as a Nick Hind or a Mason Redmond. You're just closer to it. It's physics.
Yeah, fair enough. You're harsh on the big guys.
You know how I feel.
What's interesting, I thought, was Ben Brown's not in this team. Like, he's not even getting a game for him.
He is an emergency, but he's been out for a little while. They dropped him a while ago.
Yeah, they're going well, obviously. I think what they're getting is Luke Jackson is playing good football, and he's making great backup ruckman, whereas maybe Ben Brown, they don't feel that confident that he can ruck that well, whereas Jackson is rucking really well, like very competitive.
So...
Sammy Draper's going to have his work cut out for him against these two ruckmen.
I'm looking forward to seeing him against Gorn, and I guess that justifies Peter Wright's selection as a
you got to have a Peter Wright.
Because we've got to have two.
Got to have Peter Wright's totally understandable.
In that, Zerk Thatcher's the one for me. I just go, could you have had Waterman for Zerk Thatcher rather than Waterman for Cahill?
Yeah, so I don't want Cahill in the team, but that's my view.
And I understand why.
So I want Sam Durham in the team.
Not this week because he hasn't really trained, but yeah.
I think he's good enough. I don't think that's an issue.
Question time.
To be honest, I'd nearly even go with Tom Cutler.
So there's no difference there for him and Cahill. To me, they're both just not there. At least Cale.
Oh, Carl.
At least he's got an upside. At least he's only young. Cutler's older, and we get no benefit really from playing him unless
Tom Cutler's got a bigger body.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't done much when he's gotten the chance.
Yeah, I understand. I just don't like. I'm not a fan of Cahill, and I don't get Zerk Thatcher in this selection.
So, my question,
Mm.
it's a bit of the cliche question, but we win because
What was that? When we win?
we win because
Yep.
why do we win? The headline on Sunday morning, we won because
we've won because our processes have stood up in defence, in that we've been able to hold them to probably under 90. In that, we haven't let somebody get off the chain. We've not bombed it long all day to a pack contest or, to our forward, where May and Lever have just marked the ball and rebounded and, then of course made it very hard for our defenders to defend.
Mhm.
And we've won because guys like Guelphy and Ham and somebody else, maybe like Waterman, have played really good games. And also our top echelon players have played good games. Like,
so
Harris has had 30, Merritt's had 30. We have to play our best football.
That's like the longest headline known to man.
Oh, God, sorry, I didn't know it was meant to be.
So in summary, we win because our bottom 6 players play well. We hit targets inside. Sorry, we do hit targets inside 50 and don't give them the intercept marks. That worries me because Hawthorn was able to do that against us, and Melbourne's a different class to Hawthorn.
But if you watch what Collingwood did to Melbourne, that's what they kicked it from a different spot.
Hands up if you ever thought you would say Melbourne's a different class to Hawthorn. And Melbourne are the good team.
No problem with that.
In that scenario. And I forget your first thing you said. It was a while ago now.
That our back 6 defend really well because
right. So
because they've got like McDonald, Fritsch, and as you say, Pickett, and possibly somebody else will pop up in there. Luke Jackson are going to be hard guys for us to match up on because they've got good marking and good. I don't know when the ball hits the ground, whatever that's called.
Good ground ball skills.
Ground ball, thanks. So. The reason they're on top, there's a reason Melbourne are on top of the ladder at the moment. It's because, if they still are, it's because when I watched them, their back 6, their forward 6 in the midfield have all been excellent. And I don't think we're at that level. I just hope we can be competitive for 2 or 3 quarters.
No, you're jumping ahead of me there. We lose because, and don't just say the opposite. Like obviously, if they take a lot of intercept marks in our forward line.
We lose because they tag out someone like Parrish or Merritt with Hams, and they become ineffectual. A bit like the Hawthorn game where they didn't. But in the Hawthorn game, someone like Jake Stringer stood up and kicked 4 goals and had 30 touches. If Jake Stringer goes back to 8 touches and 1 goal, and Parrish is tagged out of it, then that's why we lose.
Okay, fair enough. And lastly, what are we happy with? We're an Essendon team with a lot of kids playing against Melbourne, the top team in the competition. What result do we walk away and go, all right? If we lose by 5 or 6 goals, are we going, yeah, okay, fair enough? Is it if it gets beyond 10 that we sort of go, oh, that wasn't very good?
I think it's not the number of goals. I think it's about how you lose.
How you play, yeah.
It's how you lose. Like if you stick like the Richmond game, for example. We were so happy after that, yet we lost by nearly 40. Was it 49 or 39 points that game?
39, I think.
Yeah, so nearly 40 points. So if you were to look at that and go, 40 points, that's not very good. But we know we
were in front in the last quarter.
Yeah, we were in front in the last quarter. If the same things happen with Melbourne, they run over us because we've got a couple of injuries in the game, you'd go, positive.
God, I don't want any more injuries.
Yeah, I don't want injuries. That's touch wood on that one. I did hear Shield say on an interview the other day that he's still a few weeks away, which was another thing. But he says there's been a lot of positive press about Essendon, but they still know that they're still a long way off it. Like, they're playing better football and they're excited by that, but they're still what, 9th or 10th or whatever we are, and we haven't beaten anyone in the top 4. So
we're 10th, and
we haven't beaten anyone in top 4, so we're still a long way off. And I think that's an important thing to remember.
We've beaten one team in the 8.
Yeah. There you
and
go.
that's West Coast. The West Coast over there was a bloody good win. Take nothing away. We haven't played Melbourne Bulldogs or Geelong. We've
Nope.
lost to Brisbane away, Port Adelaide away, Sydney away, and Richmond semi-honourably. We do get a chance to play Sydney at home. We get a chance... Oh, that's it, actually. And then the GWS are the other team above us, who, again, narrow loss away from home. So we get our chance to play all those teams in Melbourne.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is kind of like where we have to step back for a moment at this week. We have to step back and go, look, you and I have been really positive with the last few weeks and how we've won, I don't know, 4 out of 5 or whatever it's been. But, you know, there've been North Melbourne's, Hawthorns, you know, not very good teams. We need to maybe even be prepared that we might get touched up over the next few weeks because we might not be as good as we think we've been, even though we've been okay.
Well,
We still might see good bits of football, but they might be for less because we're playing better teams.
I've been saying that all year, that I'm ready for a drubbing. I'm ready to lose by 100 points just because we're going to have a game where it doesn't come together.
Yep.
And our kids are poor. I don't think 100 points, knowing what our midfield's like now, I think we're good enough to not lose by that margin. But
I agree with that.
I kind of expected a bit more of a drop away at some point. And I hold nothing against them if that happens. Because they've showed us enough already. But, you know, Cox had a pretty poor week against Hawthorn.
Yeah, agree.
Well, they all did. Perkins was so maybe that's their crappy game out of the way, and maybe we'll see a nice bouncy.
Or maybe that's the beginning of the crappy part of their year.
All that's the
which is okay too. If they all drop off at this last 6 or 7, 8 games, you'd go, that's okay. Their first game is just we've seen enough to go. Yeah, we're okay.
Please finish above Carlton. I don't care. I don't care if we make finals or not. I don't care if we make finals and lose by 10 goals. Just don't finish below Carlton.
I'm worried though because they've had an absolute pizzling in the media this week. Carlton, they will.
You've got to have you've got to have a good professional mentality to deal with that and come out firing. I don't know if they have that, so it might just make them worse.
If they don't come out and win this week, they have to sack a coach or something.
They're getting close. They'll have more bloody coaches than premierships soon. In the last 10 years, I mean,
yeah, I know. But if after the comments I've seen in the paper about them, like
but they don't read them. They don't pay attention to the media.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I know.
They all watch Fox, you know, sports shows, and they all read the paper. They all read the Herald Suns because they're, you know,
bit into themselves. I don't know. If I'm Sam Walsh, I'm kind of going, boys, I'm doing everything I can.
Yeah. I'm in my second year now. I'm getting tagged. How about you boys lift?
Yeah. But yeah, if we get to round 23, we're playing against Collingwood. Hopefully finish the year off with a nice little win there, regardless of where we are. If we can say we finished above Carlton, Collingwood, Hawthorn and North Melbourne. I know I'm alone a little bit in my hatred of North Melbourne.
Yeah, you are. Who cares about them?
Oh, I can't stand them.
Fair enough. Tin Rattlers.
Yeah, Tin Rattlers. Good year. If we finish above them, and we kind of thought we might be bottom, 15th or 16th, around that area, and we can say we finished above all of our arch rivals. Huge win.
Yep. And then it'll be about the next, is it that the beginning of something?
Well,
because we've thought that before.
Yes, and my concern for next year is that there's a little bit of players in their second year tend to struggle.
Yeah.
So 100%. Cox, Perkins, Reed, those guys.
Get more first year players in.
Yeah, just keep loading. They might fall away or have a few injuries next year where we kind of start to expect something again and then it doesn't happen. But Jones, it's not his second year. He's been in the system for a few years now. Draper, hopefully he can stay fit. Get a few more draft picks. Anyway, that's a conversation for another day. If we can get through the rest of the year and just beat most of the teams we should. If we come up against the GWS and we get done and they make finals, okay, whatever.
Yeah. I'm
I'd
okay
like
with
to beat one of Melbourne Bulldogs and Geelong just to see where we're at against
I'd like
the
to
best
beat Geelong.
teams. I'd love to beat Geelong. Can't.
I'd
stand
love to. I'd handle an honourable loss against Melbourne, like say by 3 goals, and then a 1 point win over Geelong.
after the siren.
After the
Harry
siren.
Jones from 50 out.
Yeah, 45.
45 out. Well, he missed from the top of the goals.
No,
square
Peter
last
Wright.
week, so-
Peter Wright.
Yeah, lovely set shot.
Peter Wright from 60 out. Boom.
Or a Jake Stringer talk from 30,
Oh, Jake
from
Stringer!
70 out on the boundary line.
But Jake Stringer from the boundary line. After he kicked 6 for the day.
No, he kicked 9, and that was his
Oh,
10th.
that's the 10. Yeah, I like that too.
You just about stormed the ground, wouldn't you? Like the 3
Oh.
Essendon supporters down there in Geelong.
God, I hate Geelong.
Just run out of the ground. That's an interesting question. Who would you have if you to save your life from 50 out on a 45-degree angle? Doesn't have to be Essendon. Well, actually, no.
shot.
We'll do both. We'll do Essendon
Yeah.
and then anyone else. Who's taking it?
Oh, what set shot? 45 degree
say, yeah,
angle. 50
50-ish.
out or
50-ish.
50-ish.
45-50. You assume the player can make
from
it.
Essendon? I don't know if Langford's got the leg on him, but he is one of my favourite set shots.
That's fair. We'll say 45, so they're kicking from about 50. Most
Langford,
of them
then he
can kick
doesn't
50.
miss. He's got a beautiful kick.
Right, if he gets a set shot from 45 out and misses, you're dead.
Okay, bit of pressure there.
I thought you were going to say Peter Wright.
Oh, Peter Wright, I think is very good too. But Langford, I've watched over for years, and he's got a lovely set shot action.
I actually fully agree.
Peter Wright's one of those guys I'd put at 55.
Yeah, but not like okay, fair enough. And competition? Would you still go Langers?
No, I'll tell you, Tomahawk is someone I'd back in.
That goal last night's just.
There's a beautiful.
in my head. Yep.
He's got a beautiful kicking action.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think about that much, to be honest. It's a
Oh, it's just an interesting.
tough question. Did you see I sent you a little picture? Me with
you-
my pants on?